Hello everyone, this is Lisa Andrus, Psychic Medium, and this is your weekly reading for November 23rd to 29, 2015. And this week I felt guided to use a deck by Birken Tor, T-O-R-E, Birken's Deck of Intuitive Answers. I really like this deck. I don't use it all that often in my readings, but I feel like I was guided to it, and I want to say something about the events that happened in Paris because I'm taping this a week early and they just happened, and I don't know if it's because this deck, because Birken lives in Europe, if it has the European energy or what exactly drew me to it, but I feel like I just want to pay a moment of respect to all of my listeners that are either in Paris or France, or that are touched and have people that they love in Paris or France, or anybody that they love there, no matter what nationality. And I think even as humans, we're all impacted by this tragedy, and I want to just say a prayer for everybody that was touched by the events that happened on the 13th of November in Paris, France. Okay. This week I shuffled and pre-drew the cards, and there was a fourth card, but I felt just guided to put them all in a row. I'm not sure why, but I just go as I'm guided. Let's see what the week has in store here. This is for the beginning of the week, and it is Saint Francis. Automatically, I am drawn to the pictures of the animals and the nature. And Saint Francis, I feel like he wants to say, if you have any animals that you're helping or rescuing, or you've been feeling guided to rescue an animal, this is your sign that Saint Francis is with you and is helping you with any animals that you rescue or have rescued. But I honestly feel like there are a couple of you out there, one of you or more, want to start some kind of your own animal rescue, like a no-kill rescue. And this is a guide that, or a sign rather, that you can do that. You have the power within you, even if it starts with just you and taking a couple of animals into your home and starting as a foster. I've noticed that in the recent past few years, it seems to me like Doreen Virtue, she has quite a few pets at her home. And what she says that she does, at least as I recall, is some of them she rescues and then will find them homes from her home. And that is something that you could do to start small. It doesn't mean you have to get a whole building. They're asking me to tell you a story of one day, this was a couple of years ago, but I saw an ad on Craigslist for some black cats, and it was Halloween or a day before Halloween, like black kittens. And it drove me nuts with fear because it's dangerous to give any pet away for free. But I am a cat person, and a black cat on Halloween and being given away was not a good combination. And I thought to myself, the one day, it must have been like October 29th or something, and the one day I thought, well, somebody should do something about that. And then the next day I was so bothered by it, I checked again to see if the kittens were still there. And I thought, well, if nobody's done anything about that, then the person is me. And I volunteer sometimes with a no-kill rescue locally. And I asked them if I could temporarily foster these guys and I do the work to go get them. Can we take them into our organization? And the answer was yes. And I remember there was something I wanted to do that night, and I gave up all my plans. I went right from work and drove, and I must say it must have been at least an hour drive. I had to take these cats away in like a cardboard box that I'd punched some holes in. But I knew then that they were safe. And sometimes if you think somebody should do something about that, the answer is you. And then lastly, I want to say that there's a message for anybody that has a pet that is sick right now. Ask St. Francis for help. I feel like there's help going on behind the scenes. And also if you have any pet that is in heaven, this is a sign of love from them. Okay, the next card is fears. Now, as I was shuffling, I did see this card come up. I talked at the beginning here about the events that just happened in Paris. And something like that can definitely bring up fears, all sorts of fears of, you know, what bad can happen in the earth. There are such bad people on the earth. You name it, fear of an untimely death, fear that I shouldn't get on a plane. In fact, that just happened and I'm about to get on a plane, and I think to myself, well, at least to me, I just felt the energy about the situation and the upcoming trip that I have, and I feel peaceful about it. And I trust that if I had any truly bad feelings, then I would consider changing my plans. But what I've said is you can't live your life based in fear. I know that I will be exactly the right place at the right time. And if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Because you never know. I was just moved because last year I went on a trip to a class in New York. And my cousin Megan, who is from where my family's from in upstate New York, happened to be in New York City. And it was wonderful because I don't get to see that side of my family enough, and we were able to meet and have dinner and cocktails in the city. It was great, and she had her friend Carla with her, and Carla and I really connected. I just loved her. I remember Carla saying, hey, you can come and stay with me. You guys should come and stay with me sometime. And my cousin just told me that Carla, who was 32 years old, just passed unexpectedly. And I was surprisingly emotional about that because I was just touched by the beautiful light of her presence. And there are things like that that just make me, it could have a bunch of fears that come up about things like that. And there are lots of things. Earth is a heavy place. And there are lots of fears that we have that could come up at any given time. But I believe that we're all here for a purpose, and we all volunteered, and yes, life and earth is scary sometimes, but it's interesting to me how these two cards kind of loop together, because with that first card I did say, if you feel mad, if you feel like you should do something, then maybe you should. Otherwise, try not to give too much energy to your fears. Try to think of the good things and ask your angels for help if you have a lot of your fears bubbling up right now, because it's natural when we've had a world event like the one that we just had in Paris. Okay, and then here's what we have for later in the week, and it is Rise and Shine. What I immediately hear is new beginnings. So the past is the past, and what they're saying is to let the past go and let the past be the past. I feel like it's come up in readings before, but it'll never be as bad as it was. There is a message in this, and because there is a bed, I do see that it could be somebody that is recovering from a long illness. And this seems to me like the sun is coming out and everything is going to be better than you expect and not worse, excuse me. And for those of us that may not be applicable, I feel like this is new beginnings. Like the things that we're doing now, the ideas that we have now, the opportunities that we're taking now are leading to the new beginnings that we want. They're asking me to tell you, you've probably heard me say before, I want to buy a house at some point here in a couple years. And it's hard to feel like, when you want something, you don't know how to get what you want, because I don't know where I'm going to get a down payment or whatever the case might be. And what I did was I sat down and I made myself a plan. And it was about a 18-month plan. And it was realistic to get the down payment that I wanted, that I just thought if things stay the same as I think they are now, I still have a realistic plan to get that down payment. So doing something like that could help to shape your new beginnings. And what they're saying to me also is that you have to make a decision. And sometimes you stay stuck when you're in indecision. So if you've recently made a decision, this is a sign that you're going in the right direction and there are new beginnings in store. And here's what we have for the weekend. Ooh, Kismet. I love it. So obviously this says to me that there's going to be some synchronicity happening that's been going on behind the scenes that you cannot see. The first thing that popped into my head when I saw this was romance. So if you've been looking for romance, this is a sign that there may be a meeting, that there are all sorts of things going on behind the scenes, that every moment in your life has led up to this moment. You couldn't go looking for it, but it might just happen in an unexpected way. And then you may be meeting some people. For instance, I'm going to a class for mediums. And what I always love in these classes is, if all else fails, I meet some like souls and some other mediums. And you know what they say is, if you first meet somebody and you have that feeling like you know them, you probably do. And that's Kismet. You know, I trust that I'll meet the people that I'm supposed to meet. I registered for this class over a year ago. I even thought about canceling it a couple of times because it's pricey. And I just know that I'm supposed to be there. So I trust in the synchronistic details that are behind the scenes. So this card to me says expect the unexpected, but it's a good way. They want to stress it's in a good way, not a bad way. What they want to say before I close is, you know, they're drawing me to this fear card and to St. Francis and kind of the beginning of the week as opposed to the end of the week, and to try to let go of your fears. This is the week of the Thanksgiving in America. And so to everyone in the United States that is listening to this message, I want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. But that fear card could also be because we're starting that time of year with family holidays, and family holidays can sometimes be stressful. So remember to try to let go of your fears, or pray about it, or ask your angels for help, but know that you're not alone. And it looks to me like we have some wonderful new beginnings that are in store, that have had so many things going on behind the scenes that may either be in answer to our prayers, or I just heard the word destiny. I mean, so it really looks like a pretty powerful time. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in with me week after week. I love you all, and I'll speak to you again next week.